decimal. Decimal division. Decimal division. Now let's review real quick. When we add and subtract, what do you have to do with the decimal? Raise your hand. Raise your hand.
You have to line them up.
You have to line them up. Okay, you have to line your decimals up. Where is the decimal on a whole number? Where do you put the decimal on a whole number?
After the ones.
Good, after the ones place, which would be at the end of the number. You're behind the number, right? Okay, so we put decimal 0, correct? If you do that, you might have to add a few zeros and some place values, but you should get to the correct answer if you know how to add and subtract. Okay, let's talk about multiplying decimals. When we multiply decimals, what do we do? Does a decimal really affect us that much?
No.
Okay, what do we do?
You just act like it's a regular multiplication problem.
Okay.
Just put it how you put it if there wasn't a decimal.
Yeah, so you multiply like there's not even a decimal there, correct? And then how do you know where to place the decimal at the end? Notice I said at the end you place the decimal, right? Rihanna, how do you know where to place it?
Because behind the decimal, that's the numbers.
Okay, good. You count how many numbers are behind the decimal in the problem. So if there were if there were 3 numbers behind the decimal in the problem, how many should be in your answer?
3.
3. Good. Okay.
I got it. Why?
Now, with dividing decimals, it's a little different. Okay, dividing decimals. Let's say that we have this. First off, I'm going to start with something that confuses people all the time. If I have the fraction 3/4, do you know that this fraction bar is the same thing as saying division? Okay, on the test, it'll say change the fractions to a decimal. How would you change a fraction to a decimal? Fraction to decimal. This would be 3. What did I say this was? Jenny? Okay, what is this? 3 what, Jenna?
Divided by.
Good. 3 divided by 4. 3 divided by 4. So I would put my 3, the top dog always gets the house. 3 in the house, 4 on the outside. Right? Eyes up front, please. I know how to do this. Some of you don't. Does 4 go into 3?
No.
So automatic. A lot of people put the 3 on the outside and the 4 on the inside because they're like, well, you have to because 3 goes into 4. 4 doesn't go to 3. Well, we're past 5th grade now. We're into decimals. It doesn't matter. Does 4 go into 3?
No.
So what would I put above the 3?
0.
You'd put a 0. Now with dividing with decimals, if you can't go any further, we don't have remainders. What do I add?
Another
Gideon? We add a decimal. Decimal goes where in my answer? Straight up. And then what do I put behind that decimal?
A 0.
A 0. Does 4 go into 30?
Yeah.
How many times? 7. 7 times 4 is?
28.
Subtract, I get 2. Do I have a remainder too?
No.
No, what do we add?
Add another
Keep
0.
adding zeros.
That'd be
I add a 0. 4 into 20.
5.
5. How many of you knew that 3/4 is the same thing as 75/100ths? If you have 3/4 out of a dollar, how many cents do you have?
75.
75 cents. Okay. So what did I do there? When I didn't have anything to bring down, what did I add?
0.
What before the 0?
A decimal.
Decimal 0. Okay. All right. Here's a different scenario. Let's say, so actually, before I go on, fractions. How do you change fractions to decimals? You divide. You know that, okay? You divide. To change a fraction to a decimal, you divide. 3 divided by 4. Top dog gets the house. Okay? All right, let's look at another example. So let's call that example 1. Let's go example 2. Let's say I have 24 and 65 hundredths divided by 5 tenths. Okay, 24 and 65 hundredths divided by 5 tenths. How would I write that? Which one gets the house? Which one gets the house, Rihanna? First one always gets the house. Okay, first one gets the house. Well, it should be on the link. It should be on the website on Task Tuesday.
Website, you go to links.
Yeah. Which one were we doing today? Okay, I might not put it on there yet. I'll put it on there. I'm doing the tile pile one. That's what I'm going to do today. But I'll put stacky nickels on it too. Okay. All right, here we go. So which one gets the house?
The big one.
The first one.
The first one always gets the house. So I have 24 and 65 hundredths divided by 5 tenths. Okay. Now, here's a major rule for dividing with decimals. In order to do this, what has to be true, some of you already know this, what has to be true about the divisor? What has to be true about the divisor? Lacey, shut your computer. What has to be true about this divisor? What has to be true about the divisor? Who knows? Raise your hand if you know. Some of you have already done this, haven't you?
Yeah.
Jenna, what do you think?
You have to move the decimal.
Yeah, I have to move the decimal, so the divisor has to be what? Can it be a decimal number?
No, it has to be a whole number.
It has to be a whole number. So in order to make it a whole number, you just simply move it. So I'm going to move it how many places?
I know what to do next.
How many places am I moving it?
1, and then you move
One.
the one under the house.
If I move it one place in the divisor, what do I have to do to the dividend?
Same thing.
So essentially, I'm multiplying this by 10. If I multiply this number by 10, what do I need to do to that number? Multiply it by 10, and that means I'm moving the decimal over one place. So help me rewrite this problem. I would have 5 on the outside. And what number would I have on the inside?
246 and 5 tenths.
246 and 5 tenths. Where would my decimal go in my answer?
Right above.
Straight up. Once you've done this part, that's as hard as it gets for dividing decimals. Once you've done that part, you just divide. Now it's very important that you keep your numbers aligned. So 5 into 24, how many times?
4.
4, 20, 4, 6. Oops. 4, 6. How many times does 5 go into 46?
9.
9. 9 goes above the 6. 45. 1, what do I bring down?
The 5.
5 into 15.
3.
3 goes above the 5, so it's going to be 3 tenths.
49 and 3 tenths.
49 and 3 tenths. So what's my number one rule with dividing decimals? What has to be true about the divisor? It has to be a whole number. We're not going to do this problem, but I'll just show you another example. If I did 16 and 4 tenths divided by, actually maybe we will do it. Divided by, let's do something easy here, 2 hundredths. 16 and 4 tenths divided by 2 hundredths. Which one gets the house?
The first one.
The first one. So I put 16 and 4 tenths in the house. I put my 2 hundredths on the outside. How many places over do I need to move the decimal on my divisor page? 2. 1, 2. Okay. I'm going to erase this real quick. So how many do I need to move it in my...
2.
2.
Watch this though. Watch what happens. I move it over 2. 1, 2.
Add a 0.
Good, I have to add a 0 there. So what's my new number going to be? I'm going to have 2 on the outside. What am I going to have on the inside?
1,640.
1,640. Where does my decimal go in my answer?
Very
Straight up. 2 into 16. 2 into 4.
2.
2 into 0.
0.
Do I have anything?
No.
I'm good. So there's my answer, 820. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, thanks, Jim.